lot of people talk about Nirvikalpaka Samadhi and thoughtlessness and so on. So Acharya very clearly says that that is not well defined at all. So you cannot have a thoughtless state.
So good or bad, what you say is it is the same dhyana.
Exactly, exactly. So that is what Krishna also says. If you do positive dhyana, then it will help you in positive direction. If you do negative dhyana, it will take you to the negative spiral. That's it. It's very hard to have that satata eka vishayaka satata jnana pravaha. We will not have. So in fact, the chain of cognition, even if it breaks at one point in time, the dhyana is broken. See, white noise is something that has a Dirac delta signature in time domain, and it has all frequencies in the frequency domain, and the other way around. So what we are looking at is the white noise in time domain, so that in frequency domain you only have one Dirac delta.
Hari Om. Warm welcome to all of you to today's episode of Bhagavad Gita. We yesterday covered Karma Sanyasa Yoga, and Dr. Pratosh gave us a very clear idea of what is Sanyasa according to Krishna and what is Karma Yoga. The difference between the two, and though both are not separate, and you have to go together with having Jnana Purvaka Karma while doing the Phalatyaga. Now today Lord Krishna tells us how to actually implement all these things and see Him inside us. And that is the most important chapter in Bhagavad Gita for us, particularly because we are all looking forward to have that experience of Krishna, which is equal to any lines of texts and thousands of books of knowledge may not be equal to one experience of Him in a microsecond. And how to have that experience, what preparation is required in meditation to see Him inside is what is today's Dhyana Yoga, or also called Atma Samyama Yoga, the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. And Dr. Pratosh, welcome to today's episode. And today I think this is a very much awaited chapter. We have seen almost all the chapters from Purushottama Yoga to we are just having this Dhyana Yoga, and then the next one is the 18th chapter, the Moksha Sanyasa Yoga. And this is most important to us because all this knowledge, all our practices should ultimately culminate in being able to experience that either in this janma or in many janmas to come. We should be moving towards that, and please do guide us through what Krishna says, how to do the daily meditation and what we should do when we say dhyana.
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Krishnaya Yadavendraya Jnanamudraya Yogine Nathaya Rukminishaya Namo Vedanta Vedine. Yeah, so definition of dhyana is given in multiple places, and in our Bharatavarsha, right, many multiple definitions of dhyana exist. So one definition that Acharya gives in one of his works is Eka Vishayaka Satata Jnana Pravaha Dhyana. Okay, so Satata Jnana Pravaha Dhyanam. So now what is the definition of dhyana is that, see, what happens is the mind, which is the chitta, cannot exist without any subjects. It is something that always has subjects. So chitta vritti is actually what is called as jnana, not dhyana. Even the word jnana, the vritti jnana, is actually the deformation of chitta, meaning it is created out of the chitta or manas. So any chitta vritti, be it dhyana or jnana, ichha or anything, all of these are subjective in the sense that they always crave for a subject. So you cannot have a knowledge without that knowledge having something as an object. So every cognition, so to speak, has an object to it, associated with it. Now examples, I mean this may be too abstract. Example is that suppose I am looking at this book. The knowledge that I have is that of this book, and the subject to that, the cognition that I have of the book is this particular book. When I see you, I have a cognition of you, and the object for that particular cognition is you, the person, whatever, the body or whatever it is. Now Dhyana, so okay, so now what happens is, Yugapat Dhyana Anutpattihi Manasaha Anutve Lingam is what Shastra says. So what happens is, at any given microsecond, you will have the cognition of multiple things, meaning the cognition will keep roaming around. So that's what Krishna also says. So this moment I have one particular cognition, thought, and the next moment I have a different thought, the next moment I have a different thought, and so on. So it is said in Shastras that at any given point of time unit, the mind can only get deformed into one particular cognition, one particular thought, and simultaneously, I mean, we think that we are thinking of two things simultaneously, but you cannot distinguish between the split seconds. But what is actually happening is, every smallest unit of time that is taken to the deformity of mind, the mind can only have one thought at a moment. Okay. So now the object for this particular the chain of thoughts that we will get will keep varying, right? So this moment I think of this, the next moment I think of something else, and so on. Actually, Arjuna says Chanchalam Himana Krishna, he says later. So Chanchala, the Chitta is said to be Chanchala in the sense that, in fact, the word Chanchala means something that wanders a lot. So the mind wanders a lot in the sense that the subject to the cognitions that we get instantaneously keeps changing. Okay. Now, what is dhyana? See, dhyana is again chitta vritti nirodha only, just like Patanjali says, dhyana is again chitta vritti nirodha. So, what is that? Is that if you can control the subject to your cognition, not one, many of them. So, because every point in time you will have a different thought, is what we just established. Now, if you have a series of thoughts having the exact same subject to that cognition, that series of thought of cognitions is referred to as dhyana. So, eka vishayaka satata jnana pravaha dhyanam. So, it has to be you should get a series of cognitions, and all those cognitions have to point to the exact same object. So, this is the definition of dhyana.
So tell me whether I've understood correctly, because this is it should not be pretty abstract or just with an example. Let us say I'm thinking about music, or I want to sing, or I want to listen, or I'm thinking about music. So if I'm thinking about music, the music is the subject. So all my thoughts, which raga, with the tala, the rhythm, everything that I am thinking and also singing along with it, I'm listening to a reference music, there's a Samachavaragamana I'm listening, and I'm trying to repeat the same. So this entire process of me only thinking about one particular music, understanding the meaning of those words, understanding the laya, whatever the components of it, and together that I am involved in this for 10 minutes or 15 minutes, does this amount to dhyana?
Absolutely. So, you are doing a dhyana of Sangita, right? Sangita dhyana. In fact, you made a very important point. Acharya in his other works where he comments on Brahma Sutra Bhashya, he actually makes this very nice observation that, of course, one needs to do dhyana, and he says that if you do Brahma Jignasa or Adhyayana, see, that is equivalent to dhyana, is what he says. So, why is that equivalent to dhyana? See, it is of many people's experience, including me, that see, suppose I sit down for doing some dhyana, let's say Bhagavad Dhyana, it's very hard to have that satata eka vishayaka satata jnana pravaha, we will not have. So, in fact, the chain of cognition, even if it breaks at one point in time, the dhyana is broken.
The subject changes.
Exactly. However, if I am teaching, let's say if I am doing adhyayana or adhyapana, I am involved in that with much more force. I mean, when I talk to you, it's very seldom that my thought goes somewhere else, because if that happens, then I cannot collect my thoughts and just present it.
Correct.
So, Acharya actually says that if you doing rigorous Shastra Adhyayana is equivalent to dhyana, because by definition they are both the same. The only thing is the subject here is the elements of, in fact, why only Shastra? You can do a dhyana of negative things also, no? See, somebody does a dhyana of, let's say, some movie, somebody does a dhyana of something else. So basically the definition is, if you can control the chain of thoughts that you are getting, and if you can point all of them into one particular direction, that is what dhyana is. In fact, lot of people talk about nirvikalpaka samadhi and thoughtlessness and so on. So Acharya very clearly says that that is not well defined at all. So you cannot have a thoughtless state.
Oh.
Yeah, what you can have is a state where you are thinking of one and only one thing.
So there is nothing like silencing your inner talk.
Silencing is definitely there. Silencing, what do you mean by silence? See,
There is an inner talk that we
goes to, again, goes back to science.
Okay.
Now, you can make the frequency of your background noise have a monotone, in the sense that, okay, so this is again goes to some audio engineering stuff. So when we speak, or any music or any noise that you see, if you look at the spectrogram of that particular noise or whatever, the signal, it will span, it will have peaks at multiple frequencies when we speak. So what separates A from E is the kind of spectrographic signature that A has and E has. They are both different. Okay. Now what do you mean by silencing is that you make the background chatter that you have in your mind peak at a particular frequency. We call this the Dirac delta function. So you make it like a Dirac delta, in the sense that you focus it. So you make it razor focused, and there is only one thing that you think of. That is why satata jnana pravaha. In fact, there is a very nice analogy in electrical engineering or signal processing to this particular concept. It is called white noise. See, white noise is something that has a Dirac delta signature in time domain, and it has all frequencies in the frequency domain, and the other way around. So what we are looking at is the white noise in time domain, so that in frequency domain you only have one Dirac delta, maybe two technical. What I am saying is that you make your cognition, a series of thoughts of cognitions point to exactly one particular object. That is what the dhyana is all about.
See, this is on the positive side. What you said, a lot of people, they keep on remembering the old, difficult moments in their life, and they keep recollecting and keep thinking, if somebody insulted me, I keep on thinking about the same thing. He insulted me, and I feel that misery. So, whether irrespective of good or bad, what you say is, it is the same dhyana.
Exactly, exactly. So see, that is what Krishna also says. If you do positive dhyana, then it will help you in positive direction. If you do negative dhyana, it will take you to the negative spiral. That's it.
Ultimately to suicidal thoughts and all.
Yeah. Anashritah karma phalang karma karoti yaha sasanyasi cha yogi cha nacha niragdir nacha kriyaha. See, that's what he is saying. He is giving the definition of what sannyasa is here. The one who does his things without bothering about the phala or the outcome is called sannyasi, not the one who renounces everything, not the one who denounces Agni. Because Agni is because except for sannyasa ashrama, all the other ashramas have Agni with them. Brahmachari has to do his Agni duties, and Grihastha has to do. So that is why the Agni is given a very significant position in Indian household, in Bharatiya households. In fact, that is why all samskaras, Shoda samskaras, all of them have to be done with the presence of Agni. In fact, the Shrutis tell you that the Trivarnikars have to protect their Agni every day, 24/7. So these people are called Ahita Agnis. I mean, some of them are actually there even today.
Oh.
They protect their Agni for their entire life. So
I can relate to this, because there was a Soma Yaga in Bangalore sometimes back, which is done for 1.5 to 2 months.
Correct.
And that the main priest who was doing that, they are all
he should be an Ahita. Yes, they are Ahita
Agnis, and
they have to keep their Agni. So yeah, everybody has to do it. It's just that we have stopped doing it. Okay, only very few. I mean, from 50s.
He was saying the reference from Ramayana that Lord Rama, when he went to the forest, he was carrying his Agni.
Agni, yes. See, you have to do that. I mean, you have to carry your Agni everywhere. And there are still for some hundreds of people in this country who are Ahita Agnis.
Oh.
So they are the ones who does all this yajna and all that.
So Niragni is the
Sanyasi. Niragni is sannyasi.
Okay.
So it is not Niragni who is called sannyasi. He is saying the karma palatyagi is sannyasi. In fact, just to complete that thought, see, when people die, there's a practice that they burn some fire in front of the home, right? And then they carry fire to the graveyard. Actually, the idea is it is the Agni that the person who died has been protecting all his life. You'll have to take that Agni and burn the body with that Agni. So that is the Antyeshti. All this has become a mockery. Yeah, all of it has become a mockery today. But the idea is that one Garhastya Agni, that in fact that is given to him during his marriage.
Oh.
So Agnyadhana happens during his marriage, and from there he does everything in his life in the presence of that Agni.
Oh.
So he does every day. There are Upasana Agni, Upasana Homa that has to be done every day. And suppose they have children, all their samskaras have to be done with the same Agni. So it is like it's his life. He has protected that Agni all his life, and that Agni is not supposed to switch off. Meaning they have to light that fire for their entire life. Even today there are a few Ahitagnis here in Bangalore. You can go and see at their home. So they have a dedicated place where they keep that Agni.
Oh.
And it has to
be burning all the time with oil or whatever.
Yes, not oil. They have nice ways to do it.
Okay.
They put some coconut jute, etc. And there are ways to do it.
Yes, sir.
So people have done that. So they keep that Agni burning for their entire life. And everything is done with that Agni. And finally, when they are not there, they leave that body. It is that Agni with which the body is burnt, and then that Agni goes away. That's the process. And now all of this has become a mockery. Somebody carries some Agni. Nobody knows why, what Agni is being carried and what it is.
They will bring from wherever the cooking is happening.
Just take it, and all that is total nonsense. In fact, suppose I do Upanayana of my son or something, right? If I don't have Agni, all that I do here, this actually brings us to a very important concept. A lot of people make this comment that Vedas talk about so many things. It will tell you that if there is no rain, you do the Karira Yajna and you get rain, and if you want progeny, you do Putrakamishti and you get progeny, and so on. We hear a lot of stories in Puranas that people actually got. But today you are not getting any. You do any of those karma, you are not getting the outcome that has been prescribed there. Why is the question? Acharya answers it in one of his works. He says, because we have left the Adhikara, we have lost the Adhikara to get that outcome. So why did we lose the Adhikara? Is because all the 16 samskaras that Vedas prescribe, none of us have those samskaras done properly. Why? Because that has not been done in the Agni that our fathers or our forefathers protected. And when we do it for our children, we don't have Agni as well. So that entire chain of samskara has gone. Acharya says, Vedoktastu adhikarastu durlabhas sarvamanushaihi. It's completely gone. So everything that we do today, the marriages, the Upanayanams and all that is mockery. It's a bad mockery, that's it. There is nothing else, because there is no Agni. You light an Agni there, you just take a matchbox and that's not how it's supposed to do. It has to be done in the Garhasthya Agni that the Yajamana has been protecting since his marriage. In fact, if that Agni goes off, there is a lot of prayashchitta that has been prescribed in Shastras. You will have to do the prayashchitta again and then do a prakriya a process called punasandhana, and relight that Agni and do an upavasa for 3 days. So if you don't have, Krishna is saying niragnihi. If you have niragni, you are equivalent to being a sannyasi actually. Because you are not qualified to do anything. No karma you are qualified to do anything whatsoever. See, we leave our Sandhya, we leave our Agni. What kind of Adhikara that we have? Completely gone. And what kind of Adhikara do we have to even ask these questions? That, whatever I am doing, it's not getting the outcome that it's supposed to give. But come on. Did you do what is supposed to be done? If you don't do it, the kind of outcome that you get is just that. Anyway, so nacha niragnihi, nacha akriyaha. So they don't have any kriya to be done. Sannyasis don't have Agni. See, that is why the bodies of sannyasis when they leave is not burnt, because they don't have Agni.
Oh, that's why
it's buried. Yes, because they don't have Agni.
Oh, that is the connection.
Yeah, In fact, it is said that when the sannyasi leaves the body, either you bury it somewhere and come back. There is no mantra, nothing for them. Just bury it somewhere, or you just put it in flowing water. That's it. But for somebody who has an Agni, that thing becomes a yajna. That's again, it's called Antyeshti. It's one of the 16 samskaras, and there are mantras to do that and all that. But for a sannyasi, because there is no Agni, you just put it inside. That's it. Now everybody has become Niragni.
So it doesn't matter whether you do.
I tell you, no, mockery. Most of the things that we do in the name of rituals are mockery today, right?
The point is, this is not even known to us. See, one is, now you are telling, maybe here and there we get some reference, but we don't give too much attention to it. But now when you are saying,
go on and on.
We know that there is something like this, and see, at least those who are not married, I'm seeing always futuristic. Those can start their Agni now, no? I mean, those if they are interested. You said still there are
all our houses are filled with LPG stoves. Where is the Agni? It's very hard. I mean, you need a lifelong dedication to actually do this. It's not easy at all. One needs to have that lifelong dedication. See, when you say your pravara, a lot of us do say our pravara, right? Pravar. What do we say? We say this is my lineage. You also say, are you a Rigvedi? You say Ashvalayana Sutra when you say it, right?
Sutra.
Correct. So I am a Yajurvedi and I say Apastamba Sutra. What is that Ashvalayana Sutra and Apastamba Sutra? There are these sages by name Ashvalayana and Apastamba who has written books called Grihya Sutras. So it is in these sutras that they talk about how to protect the Agni, what is to be done. For an Yajurvedi, it is the Rishi Apastamba that we follow, or at least my lineage somebody followed, and Ashvalayana is the Rishi that you people should follow. We don't even know what we say, no? We keep saying things and we say Yajushaka Adhyayi, Rukshaka Adhyayi. That actually means that I am somebody who is studying Yajurveda and Rigveda.
Oh.
Yeah.
Not from the born in the lineage of
Yajushaka Adhyayi. One who studies the Yajushaka.
Wait a minute, I am now understanding it is not about the lineage. That it means you are supposed to study Rigveda.
Yajushaka Adhyayi, you are actually saying a lie every day that I am somebody who is studying Rigveda, I am somebody who is studying Yajurveda, and you say that very proudly in front of God and then do a namaskara, right? That's cheating.
Oh. I think we should at least know the meaning of what the mantras we are saying.
You definitely should. See, it goes out of topic, but funnily enough, this marriage mantras, it's the most funniest thing that can happen. Okay, so when they do this thing called Panigrahana, where the groom will hold the hands of the bride for the first time.
Oh.
She is not supposed to touch. That's the ritual. The ritual is when you hold the hand of the bride for the first time. That is called Panigrahan. The mantra is Grubhnavite Sobhagatvaya Hastam, is how the mantra says. Grubhnami is I shall hold your hand for you to live for 100 years. Let us both live as long as possible and do yajna, is that mantra. So it is the Purohit who is saying Grubhnavite Hastam. He is saying that I shall hold your hand.
It should be told by the bride.
The groom. The groom. So he is, the Purohit is saying Grubhnavite Sobhagatvaya Hastam. He is saying I shall hold your hand. This is the kind of, see the point is, okay we talk, I mean, see the very fact that we are talking in English today is an insult. Because we have adopted the Western methodology, the Western language, the Western attire, the Western thought process. Kathamiti, we are not talking, we are not having this Sambhashana in Sanskritam. See, that itself is a big mockery, no? Unfortunate, it's very unfortunate that we have to talk about our own scriptures in the language that is not ours, right? So I think the message is that studying Sanskritam is a non-negotiable thing for everybody who claims themselves to be a Bharatiya. At least study it as a language, so that we do all these, at least being an Astika household, we keep doing these things on a daily basis. We do our Sandhya, we do our Pujas, we do our Shraddha and all these kinds of things. And all of those mantras or all of those things are in Sanskritam. So if you do not understand the language, you have no idea what is being said, and everything becomes a mere ritual, and nothing makes any sense. And that is why all of these have lost the meaning and the luster. That's the point.
It has just become one process and mechanical process.
Some social gathering, yeah, that's it, and an opportunity to flaunt your wealth and whatnot, right? So, I mean, it is what it is. What do you do? Yeah. So, Arurukshor Muner Yogam, I think we deviated a little bit today. Yeah. Arurukshor Muner Yogam, Karma Karanam Uchyate, Yoga Rudhasya Tasyaiva, Shamah Karanam Uchyate, Sampurna Upayo Yoga Rudhaha. Acharya makes a very interesting observation here, that he says, Nana Janasya Sushrusha, Karmakhya Karavanmitehe, Yogarthena tu Sakarya, Yogasthena Harosthirihi, Tena api Sarvottamanantu कार्या अन्ये अखिलेष्वपि शक्तितः करणीयेति विशेषो सिद्धसिद्धयोः प्राप्तोपायस्तु सिद्धः स्यात् प्रेप्सु साधक उच्यते. This word na siddha and sadhaka, Acharya says the one who has gotten the upaya to moksha is called siddha, the one who is trying there is called sadhaka. Tasya pranyupakarena santushto bhavati ishvaraha siddhopayena vishnostu dhyanakhya archanadikam karyam nanyat tasya tena tushto bhavati keshavaha. So Acharya gives a different angle to it. He is saying dhyana here also means serving the society. Tasya pranyupakarena prito bhavati ishvara, tasya pranyupakarena santushto bhavati ishvaraha, nana janasya sushrusha kartavya karmakhya karavanmitehe. In fact, our Guruji Pujya Pedavara Swamiji always used to say this. Acharya has said, Nana janasya sushrusha karmakhya karavanmitehe. So you will have to serve the society as if you are paying tax to Ishvara, in the sense that it is your duty. And tasya pranyupakarena prito bhavati keshavaha. So if you serve his people, then Krishna will become happy, and that is one form of dhyana. So it is not here, in some other place this shloka comes up, which says येन केन प्रकारेण यस्य कस्यापि देहिनः संतोषं जनयेत् प्राज्ञः तदेव ईश्वर पूजनम्. येन केन प्रकारेण यस्य कस्यापि देहिनः, no matter what methods you choose, no matter whom you choose, santosham janayet prajnah, make the other people happy, tadeva ishvara pujanam. Right? Acharya says the same thing here. Nana janasya sushrusha karmakhya karavanmitehe tasya pranyupakarena prito bhavati keshavaha siddhopayena vishnostu dhyanakhya archanadikam. So this itself gets called as dhyana. But there are multiple upayas. Yada hi nendriyartheshu nakarmasu anushajyate sarva sankalpa sannyasi yoga rudhas tadochate. Yeah, katham nanushajyate? सर्व संकल्प सन्यासी मयि सर्वाणि कर्माणि इत्युक्तत्वात् मदधीन बिदं ज्ञात्वा मत्सन्यासी इति चोच्यते. Entirely, in fact, the word nyasa, I think I never told you this, the word nyasa literally means placement. Sanyasa is sati nyasa, sanyasa. So placing something in sat is sanyasa. So placing your mind in Sat. So what do you mean by placing your mind in Sat? I mean Sat Saditi Brahma. So it is the Nirdushta Brahman that is called as Sat. So you place your mind in Sat is Sanyasa. So what do you mean by that? Krishna already said that. No, Madadina Vidang Nyatva Mad Sanyasamiti Chochate. Whenever you act with the thought that he is the Swatantra and I am the Aswatantra Kartru. That is called Sanyasa. Sarva sankalpa sannyasi yoga rudhas tadochate. Then he says uddhared atmanatmanam natmanam avasadayet atmaiva hyatmano bandhuratmaiva ripuratmanah bandhuratma atmanastasya yenatmaiva atmanajitah atmanastu anatmanastu shatrutve varteta atmaiva shatruvat.
In fact, this is the one of my favorite verses of the Bhagavad Gita. It actually gives me tremendous amount of confidence when I feel low. Just sharing with you, and I am very keen to know what you would say about this.
Uddhare atmana atmanam. So one can give multiple layers of meanings to it. Yeah, in fact, this is one of my favorite shlokas too. So Atma is Paramatma, Antaryami is called Atma. The Brahma Sutra says Atme Tipagachanti Grahayanti cha. So I told you the other day, no, there are 4 things that the Manushas have to do upasana as the Sat, Chit, Ananda and Atma. Atma is Swami and Antaryami. So if you take that meaning here, Uddhared Atmana Atmanam. So if there is somebody who would uplift, it's the Paramatma. Atmanam Navasadayet. You should never discard Paramatma in your daily duties or anything. Atmaiva Hyatmano Bandhu Atmaiva Ripuratmanaha. Uddharete eva samsara jivatmanam paratmana Vishnurubandhu satam nityam paramatma hyasatamarihi. Atmaiva hyatmano bandhu. For the ones who think that the Ishvara is Paramatma, he becomes a bandhu. Atmaiva ripuratmanaha. For the ones who think that he is not the Antaryami, the ones who are thinking that they are the doers, for them Paramatma himself is the Ripu. That is how this has to be interpreted. Otherwise it says, so same Atma cannot be the bandhu and Ripu. Ripu is enemy. So for those, you have to change the subject here. For those who think that the Paramatma is Antaryami, for them he acts like a bandhu. For those who think that they are under control, for them Atmaiva Ripuratmanaha. Bandhuratma Atmanastasya Yenatmaiva Atmanaditaha Anatmanastu Shatrutve Varteta Atmaiva Shatruvata. This is one Vartate Tasya Mitram Sadasanyasya Shatruvata. Tatprasadajaya Bhaktya Jito Yasya Vashe Tviti Vartate Tasya Mitram Sa Tadanyasya Shatruvata. The moment you realize that things are not under my control and under the control of Brahman, then the Atma becomes Mitra. If you don't have that Anusandhana, then the Atma turns into Shatru. It's neutral that way. Right? The way, again, going back to the analogy of electricity, right? My favorite one. Use it properly, it powers you. Try to meddle with it, touch it, you will get a shock. That is what it is. It just does the powering. That is one level of meaning. The other level of meaning that one can think of is connect this to the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. In Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, there is a conversation between Yajnavalkya and his wife, where he talks about. That is where this in Brihadaranyaka is where you have this famous quote Aham Brahmasmi also coming in. So there Yajnavalkya and his wife is having the conversation. He says Atma Vare Drashtavyaha Shrotavyo Mantavyo Nidhyas. I think you know the story, right? That he renounces everything and he has two wives. He gives one. He wants to divide his wealth between those two, and one takes and goes away. The other says, I don't want wealth. Tell me something which leads me to Amritattva, and he starts giving the Upadesha. And there he says. Nava are patyuh kamaya patih priyo bhavati, atmanastu kamaya patih priyo bhavati. Nava are putrasya kamaya putro priyo bhavati, atmanastu kamaya putra priyo bhavati. And
Nava are vittasya
bhavati, atmanastu kamaya. Then atmanastu kamaya sarvam priyo bhavati is how it. So basically, again, one level of meaning there is that you don't like your children because of the children. You like it because they bring you happiness. So you don't like money because of money. You like it because that brings you happiness. So everything finally points out to the self, and you do everything because you want to be selfish and you want to be happy. So that is one way to look at it. So there, what is that is being said there is that everything is self-centered, okay, but while you are being self-centered, you have this clarity that that you are doing your duty. And see, the karma sannyasa that Krishna talks about comes if you understand that everything is self-centered. So this may look ironical and contradictory, but it is not. I will explain how. That's why Krishna says Uddhared Atman Atmanam. Now finally, you know what happens? Finally we act out of our desire to be happy. And Shastras do not see this word being selfish has a negative connotation now, right? It doesn't have to. Being selfish is okay in the sense that ultimately you are in the search of your own happiness, and that's what you need. However, if you look at Shastras tell you that the happiness that you are looking for actually resides inside you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Pratosh. Viewers, let's take a small pause here and reflect on what we are actually going through in this Adhyaya. And also, if you have specific questions, please do ask this in the comment section, and let's continue this journey. Tomorrow, we'll come back to you with Dr. Pratosh again. Thank you so much for watching.